YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking Auburn football. Go ahead and like the video, comment, and subscribe to Vernon Speak Sports Auburn. We're talking week 4 of the Auburn football Tigers new regime with Brian Harsin, Mike Bobo, Derek Mason, and company coming off a 28-20 heartbreaking loss. A lot of opportunities there to win that particular football game. But last minute heroics just didn't work out for the Tigers. They find themselves in a situation to where there's a tune-up against Georgia State following next week's battle with LSU, where Auburn has not won in Death Valley since 1999. Auburn faces a Georgia State team that has always prided themselves on being highly competitive against Power 5 football teams. As a matter of fact, the season opener in 2019, Georgia State went to Neyland Stadium in Knoxville, Tennessee, and actually knocked off Tennessee 38-30. So this is definitely not a game where Auburn wants to take this team lightly. Auburn definitely wants to, find different ways to improve on certain levels, especially with Bo Nix. I'm looking for him to improve on his progression. He's improved a lot on his presence in the pocket, being patient, and letting things happen. But now it has to graduate to where you're finding the most high percentage pass possible given the situation. Because we look back in the Penn State game, Auburn was in a situation where Demetrius Robertson, he was open actually. It wasn't a horrible choice. However, given the trajectory of the field and the spacing, there wasn't enough room to fit that ball in, even with a perfect throw. I think he should check down to Tank Bigsby, who was actually wide open in the middle of the field. And, you live to fight another day. You possibly get a touchdown out of that drive. Georgia State has been alternating quarterbacks. The starting quarterback seems to be not necessarily on the bench, but they did give the other quarterback a chance. We're talking about Cornelius Brown, who was the starter, but in the game against Chattanooga, Darian Granger seemed to get a lot more of the reps in that football game, and Darren Granger seems to be more of a dual threat type guy, and I think that's going to give Auburn some different looks. Now, also, Auburn is going to be without Zacoby McClain for the first half because of a targeting penalty, and it appears that Auburn is going to be without Owen Papo for the entire game, as his leg is presumably in a sling at the moment. One of the things I look for, especially for the Auburn defense, is to be a little bit more aggressive with press man coverage. That seems to be these guys' strong point. I thought they gave up some unnecessarily chunk yards in the Penn State game that proved to be costly and put them in an adverse situation, especially on the road against one of the more traditionally good teams in the country. I think Penn State is well deserving of a top 10 ranking. A lot of the reasons why a lot of folks are not really taking stock in Penn State at the moment is because Penn State they don't make it look pretty. They're not out here beating people, beating teams by 3-4 touchdowns. They're finding methodical ways to win games based on their personnel packages and the actual team that they are competing against. And I think that's okay. I think those are the types of teams you need to really show the diversity of college football. Big hats off to Penn State for winning that football game. It was a very hostile situation for Auburn, and I think the Auburn Tigers, really responded well, especially being down 21-10 and finding a way to put themselves in a position to win that football game. Luckily for Auburn, if history would repeat itself, Auburn is in the right spot. Auburn is in the right spot. In 2017, losing to Clemson early in that year, they pushed the envelope to possibly be one of the first college football teams in the college football playoff era to make it to the college football playoff. They won a long string of games after that loss to Clemson. Also, even had a few games that were a little frustrating to the Auburn fans. You know, Mercer keeping it close, but Auburn found a way. They found their stride, and we're going to see if Auburn is able to do that this year, especially with the slate that's coming up. And one thing I like about this is the fact that Auburn is in much more familiar territory as they play the rest of their season. I mean, Penn State, that was absolutely bananas. The way that crowd was, you're taking your team on the road for the first time, a team that has not particularly played together, a coaching staff that's still trying to gel as a staff. So I think the SEC may be a comfort zone for Auburn because you know what you're getting into. And you obviously know how to prepare based on the information that you gain from the Penn State game. Look forward to a good game between Auburn and Georgia State. I will be coming with the prediction show a little bit later on. Like the video, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.